My name is Elowen Crest, and in Denver's hyper-polished tech wellness world, that name used to mean something. Not fame, not fortune, but promise. The kind of promise you whisper to yourself at 2 a.m. when you're hunched over a laptop in a co-working space lit only by vending machine glow. I'm 29, co-founder of Unoya, a wellness tech startup I built with someone I once trusted with my sanity, Caleb Rourke. He had the investor connections, the smooth pitch voice, the kind of smile accelerators eat up like protein bars. And I had the product. A mindfulness engine powered by adaptive neurofeedback. A system that could read emotional drift and adjust in real time. Something no one in Denver, or Silicon Valley, had built before. And for a while, it felt like everything was aligning. It was late spring, the beginning of Denver's storm season. The sky went from blue to steel in 5 minutes, and thunder rolled in like an angry committee. I'd just finished my sixth cup of cold brew when I heard Caleb call my name from down the hall of our rented office suite. "El, you got a minute?" His tone was polite. Too polite. The way someone sounds when rehearsing. I followed him into our tiny glass conference room, the one we joked looked like a terrarium for stressed-out founders. The rain started tapping the windows, fast and sharp, like it was impatient for something to break. Caleb sat, folded his hands, and didn't meet my eyes. That was my first clue. "Elowen," he began, "we have a problem with the burn rate." My stomach tightened. "What do you mean?" "We're exactly on budget." He slid a printed report across the table. I recognized the format immediately. Investor statements. But the numbers? They looked wrong. No. Worse than wrong. They looked manipulated. The expenses were inflated. The withdrawals were massive. And next to each one, in cruel black ink, was my name. "Caleb, what is this?" He leaned back, sighing like he was the victim. "We've had some instability. Investors are concerned. They think you've been mismanaging funds." My ears rang like someone had set off a firecracker inside my skull. "Me? I don't even have access to the withdrawal permissions." I snapped. "You handle finances. You always have." He gave a slow nod, pretending to be sympathetic. "And that's why this is so hard. They want you removed before the product launch." A bolt of lightning cracked outside. The entire room flashed white. I shook my head. "You're pushing me out. You're really doing this." "It's not me," he said softly. "It's business." Such a simple sentence. Such a clean, polished bullet aimed straight at my chest. He slid a termination agreement toward me, pre-written, dated, waiting. Meaning this wasn't sudden. It was planned. "Sign today," he said, "and we'll avoid legal escalation." The rain hit harder, desperate, like the sky wanted to scream for me. I walked out of that glass cage in a fog. My hands were trembling so badly I could barely swipe my badge to exit the office. The hallway lights felt too bright. The carpet muted everything except the sound of my heartbeat, pounding like it wanted out. He framed me. He drained the accounts. He did all of it knowing I wouldn't see it coming. I sat in my car for 10 minutes, staring at the dashboard, trying to swallow the rising nausea. How could I have missed it? How could I have trusted him so blindly? How could someone who sat across from me brainstorming at midnight, indexing dreams into wireframes, turn around and gut me like that? I replayed the last year in my head, the red flags I had brushed off. The extra late-night investor calls, he never explained. The sudden reluctance to show me the financial dashboard. The way he called Unoya my vision during a pitch, then quickly corrected to our vision when he saw my face. The arrogance that bloomed after our seed round. The way he thrived under praise, but tightened whenever I got it. He didn't just betray me, he erased me. And that hurt worse than any contract could. That night, I lay on my apartment floor surrounded by our old notebooks, beta sketchboards, napkins covered in messy equations, the first mood board we assembled when we thought building a company meant changing the world instead of surviving it. I cried until my throat felt scraped raw. Then anger rose, slow, hot, steady. Caleb was calculating. He was calm. He was confident I'd fold. But he didn't know me as well as he thought. Betrayal does something to you. It rearranges your bones. It sharpens your mind in ways success never does. By midnight, my tears dried. By 1 a.m., I opened my old laptop, the one still logged into our earliest development builds. By 2 a.m., a thought formed so clearly it felt like it was carved into me. If Caleb wanted me gone so badly, he must be hiding something big, something explosive, something I could use. I clicked into the repository logs. Most of the files looked untouched, but 3 folders, 3 very specific ones, had their timestamps altered. The kind of subtle alteration someone only makes when they're terrified someone else will look too closely. My pulse quickened. "What did you do, Caleb?" I whispered. A storm raged outside, but I didn't hear it anymore. Because at that moment, something clicked. Something cold and determined and unmistakably dangerous. He thought he could erase me. He thought wrong. As I opened the altered folders, a line of corrupted code appeared, jagged, incomplete, and hinting at something far darker than misused funds. And that was when I realized this wasn't just fraud. It was bigger, much bigger. I leaned closer to the screen, scrolling slowly, my breath held tight in my chest, until one hidden file name popped up at the bottom of the directory. A file I definitely did not create. A file timestamped just days before my removal. A file labeled Caleb, Private, INV Ghost Vault. My blood went cold. What the hell is Ghost Vault? I clicked. The screen flickered. Then, a login prompt I had never seen before appeared, and the cursor blinked at me like an invitation. Or a warning. The login screen pulsed softly on my laptop as if breathing. INV Ghost Vault. A secret vault. Hidden, protected. Something Caleb never expected me to find. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, trembling with a mixture of adrenaline and disbelief. What else had he buried in here? I typed a password, my best guess, one of Caleb's old security phrases. Nothing. Another try. Nothing. Third attempt. And suddenly, access granted. My stomach dropped. The screen unfolded into a directory of files, cold and clinical, like an autopsy drawer system. Dozens of spreadsheets, encrypted memos, a list of investor names I recognized. And some I definitely didn't. I clicked on the first file and felt my entire world tilt. Funds withdrawn in amounts that made our seed round look like pocket change. Accounts linked to shell companies. Money funneled through consulting groups that didn't exist. And every transaction labeled under one tag. Operational Stress Test, EC. EC, my initials. He didn't just frame me. He built an entire financial maze designed to collapse on top of me. I slammed the laptop shut so hard it rattled. For a moment, I just sat there, breathing like I'd run a marathon. My chest ached. My jaw locked. Every nerve in my body screamed between fear and rage. Caleb wasn't sloppy. He wasn't impulsive. He crafted this. And if he had a vault like this, what else was he hiding? My phone buzzed suddenly on the floor. I picked it up. A text from an unknown number. "Stop digging." Just 2 words. 2 words cold enough to freeze the oxygen in my lungs. I stared at the message, a chill crawling up my spine. How did they know? How fast could information travel? Who else was watching? I typed back, "Who is this?" No reply. Seconds passed. A minute. Another text finally arrived. "You were removed for a reason. Walk away." Walk away. I dropped the phone like it burned me. They were warning me, or threatening me, or both. Either way, Caleb wasn't alone. And whoever stood behind him didn't want the truth getting out. The next morning, I forced myself out of bed long before sunrise. My eyes were raw from crying, but my mind was razor sharp. If Caleb wanted me to walk away, that meant one thing. I had leverage. Something he couldn't afford to lose. The Ghost Vault wasn't just about stealing money. These were investor accounts. Serious people with serious lawyers. If they found out money was missing, Caleb would be the one buried, not me. But I needed more than files. I needed evidence that held up. I needed digital footprints that couldn't be altered. And for that, I needed someone who understood systems better than Caleb. Which is why, at exactly 6:12 a.m., I knocked on the door of a cramped apartment on the east side of Denver. The door swung open, revealing a guy in plaid pajama pants and a hoodie with a hole in the sleeve. "Elowen?" He blinked. "It's 6 in the morning." "Hi, Milo," I said, trying not to sound desperate. "I need your help." He rubbed his eyes. "Is this about Caleb's meltdown?" I saw the press release. "Founder transition due to internal restructuring. Total corporate trash language." I swallowed hard. It's worse than that. Milo was our former lead engineer, the kind of genius who could break into a bank vault but cried when his kombucha SCOBY died. He left Eunoia 6 months ago after a fight with Caleb about ethical code deployment, which I'd assumed was an exaggeration at the time. I was wrong. Very wrong. I stepped inside and told him everything. The fake financial reports, the termination, the ghost vault, the threatening texts. Milo's expression shifted from sleepy to furious in under 10 seconds. "That son of a—" He cut himself off, running a hand through his hair. "All right, show me." We hunched over my laptop at his tiny kitchen table, which was covered in loose capacitors and 3 empty ramen bowls. When I reopened the ghost vault, Milo exhaled sharply. "Oh, he's done. He's absolutely cooked. This isn't just fraud." He pointed at the screen. "These are structured transactions, intentional, coordinated. Someone with serious accounting knowledge helped him set this up." "Investors?" I asked. "Not investors, someone else." His voice lowered. "Someone who expects a return." My heart hammered. "What do you mean?" He clicked deeper into the folders until a single contract appeared. Scanned, unsigned, but detailed. A partnership agreement between Eunoia and a private health data firm I had never even heard of. "Are they legit?" I whispered. Milo shook his head slowly. "This is a data harvesting company. Not wellness, not tech. The kind that sells metadata to, well, anyone with money." My stomach twisted. "That would violate everything Eunoia stands for." "That's why you weren't supposed to know," he said. Caleb was preparing a backdoor integration before launch. A sick realization slammed into me. He planned to sell our user data before we even launched. Yep. And frame me to get me out of the way. Yep. And take full control to sign the deal himself. Yep. I felt dizzy. Betrayal had levels. And this wasn't just personal. This was criminal. Milo leaned back, crossing his arms. "You know what this means, right?" I nodded, staring at the screen. "Yeah, we need to expose him. But we can't go to investors yet," Milo added. "If Caleb even senses we're moving, he'll wipe the servers. Or worse, wipe the ghost vault records remotely." My pulse spiked. "So what do we do?" Milo looked at me, eyes dark with determination. "We hit first." "How?" He pointed at the contract. "We break into Eunoia." I froze. "Milo, not physically," he clarified. "Digitally. We access the internal server through the old development tunnel I built. The one Caleb doesn't know still exists. If we can get in, we can extract every log, every transfer, every signature he used. And if he notices, he won't, unless someone on the inside alerts him." My throat tightened. "But he has someone watching. Someone sent me threatening texts." Milo frowned. "Then we move fast." He reached into a drawer and pulled out a portable drive the size of a stick of gum. "This can clone the entire server in under 10 minutes. I exhaled, shaking. "Milo, if we do this, Caleb will come for us. Legally, personally, maybe worse." He gave me a small, lopsided smile. "Elowen, he already came for you. You just didn't hit back yet." Something in me hardened. A weight lifted, replaced by clarity. I wasn't walking away. Not now. Not after seeing what he'd built behind my back. I nodded. "Okay, let's do it." Milo smirked. "Good. We'll start tonight." Tonight. My breath caught. This was happening. We were going to break into the company I built. To save the truth Caleb tried to bury. But before I could say another word, Milo's laptop lit up with a notification. He frowned. "What is it?" I asked. He clicked. His eyes widened. He slowly turned the screen toward me. It was a live alert from Unoya's internal system. Someone was in the server. Someone was deleting files. And the file currently being deleted was labeled Inv Ghost Vault, Transactions Final.csv. My blood turned to ice. Caleb knew. He knew we were digging. And he was trying to erase everything. For a full second, Milo and I just stared at the glowing alert like it was a ticking bomb. "Someone's deleting the Ghost Vault files right now," Milo whispered. My throat tightened. "Can we stop it?" He was already typing, fingers flying across the keys. His hoodie sleeve slid up just enough for me to see the faded ink stains on his wrist, proof that Milo lived and breathed code. "Maybe," he muttered. "If I can intercept the deletion command before it propagates." My heart pounded so loudly I could barely hear the keyboard. "Come on, come on!" He slammed the enter key. A moment of silence. Then, "Access denied. Remote priority override active." "Damn it," Milo hissed. "They're using a direct kill switch. That means whoever's deleting this, they have full admin authority." "Caleb," I whispered. "Not just Caleb." Milo looked up at me, jaw clenched. Someone else gave him elevated permissions. My chest tightened. The unknown texter. The secret partner. The data harvesting company. This was bigger than I imagined. "All files in the Ghost Vault will be gone within minutes," Milo said. "We need a copy before it's erased." "But we don't have access," I said, panic rising. "Not to that part of the server," Milo corrected. "But the development tunnel leads to the shadow logs. They're like ghost copies of everything Caleb touched. He probably forgot they exist." "Shadow logs?" I repeated. He nodded quickly. "Back-end forensic mirrors. Every action gets tracked, even deletions. If we get in before he wipes those, we can still recover everything." "And if he wipes them too? Then we're screwed." Within 15 minutes, we were in Milo's car, an ancient Honda that smelled like soldering fumes and stale coffee, speeding through early morning Denver traffic. The sun was just starting to rise, tinting the sky with streaks of copper and lavender. I watched it blur past the window, my mind racing faster than the car. "Why would he do this now?" I murmured. "Why delete everything today?" Milo didn't take his eyes off the road. "Because you saw too much. And Caleb's partners are spooked." I swallowed. "Partners? Plural? There's no way he orchestrated all that financial rooting on his own. Look, Caleb's a snake, but not a sophisticated snake. Someone else built this maze. Someone powerful. Someone who wanted me silent." A knot formed in my stomach. "Milo, am I in danger?" He hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. We reached the building. Unoya's polished, modern concrete and glass office. The giant geometric logo still shimmered proudly at the entrance. Seeing it made my chest twist. I helped design that logo. I helped choose that font. I helped pitch this company from nothing. And now I was sneaking in through the back like a criminal. We slipped in through the alley-level service door Milo still had a keycard for, one Caleb probably forgot Milo ever possessed. Inside, the building was quiet, cold, almost sterile. Our footsteps echoed against the polished floors as we hurried toward the server room. "Do we have a plan?" I whispered. "Yeah," Milo said. "We clone the logs as fast as possible, get out, and pray nobody shows up." "Comforting," I muttered. He gave me a tight smile. "I try." The server room was colder than the rest of the building, the temperature kept low to protect the racks of humming machines. Blue and green lights flickered softly, like a constellation trapped in a cage. Milo rushed to the maintenance terminal, plugging in his portable drive. The moment the screen lit up, he inhaled sharply. "Oh no," I froze. "What?" "They're erasing shadow logs too." His voice trembled. "And they've already started." "How long do we have?" "5 minutes, maybe less." He typed furiously, code streaking across the monitor like panicked confessions. My chest burned. This felt like watching a house collapse in slow motion. Everything I built, everything I believed in, falling apart at the seams. Milo, I whispered, what if we can't get it all? We just need enough. He didn't look at me. Just enough to prove Caleb's lying. And the partner? One nightmare at a time, Elle. The bar on the screen climbed slowly, too slowly. 23%, 27%, 30%, 36%. I paced behind him, stomach churning. Faster, I muttered under my breath. Please, please go faster, Milo whispered to the computer like it was alive. Come on, baby, don't fail me now. 40%, 46%, 51%. Suddenly, footsteps, echoing down the hall. Milo and I locked eyes. Someone's here, I breathed. He yanked out his earbuds. No one comes in this early. No one. The footsteps grew louder, slow, deliberate, like the person wanted to be heard. Milo's voice dropped to a whisper. Elle, hide. What? Hide, now! I ducked behind a tall metal server rack, heart rattling against my ribs. Milo hunched over the terminal, trying to look like he belonged there. The footsteps stopped right outside the door. Then the handle turned. The door slowly swung open. Footsteps entered the room. I held my breath, my back pressed to the cold metal, praying my heartbeat wasn't loud enough to give me away. A low voice murmured, "You're not authorized to be in here." It wasn't Caleb. I recognized the voice. I'd heard it in investor meetings, in pitch rehearsals, in early funding calls. Ethan Vale, a major investor, the one who wrote the biggest check during seed round, the one who always called Caleb visionary and called me promising. He stepped closer to Milo. "I didn't realize you still had building access," Ethan said coolly. Milo didn't turn around. "I'm running a maintenance check." "In the server room?" Ethan stepped even closer, suspicious. "At 6 in the morning?" Milo swallowed. "Yeah, it's routine." Ethan's shoes stopped inches from Milo's chair. "That's interesting," he said softly. "Because Caleb told me someone might try to interfere today." Ice shot through my veins. Ethan knew. Ethan was part of this. My breath hitched. If he turned his head even slightly, he'd see me. Milo kept typing, hands shaking. Ethan leaned in. "What exactly are you accessing, Milo?" Milo stammered. "Just diagnostics." Ethan hummed, unconvinced. He reached toward the terminal screen and froze. A beeping sound cut through the room. Milo's portable drive. The bar hit. 100%. Milo whispered, "Done." Ethan's eyes darkened. "What did you just copy?" His hand shot toward Milo's wrist. And I didn't think. I moved. I stepped out from behind the server rack. "Hey!" Ethan spun around, shock flashing across his face. "Elowen?" His confusion lasted half a second. Then his expression hardened into something predatory. Very predatory. "Elowen," he said quietly, "you shouldn't be here." His hand slid into his coat pocket, and I realized, too late, he wasn't reaching for a phone. Ethan's hand moved into his coat with a smoothness that terrified me. Practiced, deliberate, like someone who had done this before. "Don't," I said, my voice shaking despite the fire inside me. "Ethan, don't do anything stupid." He didn't even look at me. His eyes were locked on Milo, cold and calculating. "You two have no idea what you've stepped into," he said quietly. Milo stood from the chair, palms raised, trying to stay calm. "Ethan, let's talk. Whatever Caleb told you, Caleb told me you were a risk." Ethan's tone sharpened. "And risks don't get to roam freely." My pulse skyrocketed. Whatever he was reaching for, phone, weapon, I couldn't wait to find out. "Stop!" I stepped forward, placing myself between Ethan and Milo. That finally made Ethan pause. His gaze flicked to me, annoyance flickering like a knife edge. "Elowen, you were supposed to walk away. You were compensated. You were removed cleanly." "Cleanly?" I snapped. "He framed me, stole company funds, and sold user data to a backdoor firm." Ethan's jaw flexed. "Watch your words," he said. "You're talking about private agreements you are not authorized to know." "You mean the agreement you hid from me?" I shot back. A tiny smile ghosted across his lips. "Caleb always underestimated how stubborn you are." My hands curled into fists. "What's in your pocket, Ethan?" He didn't answer. Instead, he stepped closer. "Give me the drive." My blood turned cold. He knew. He knew Milo had copied the logs. Milo clutched the drive tighter behind his leg, hidden from view. "You're not getting this," I said. Ethan sighed, like I was a child refusing bedtime. "Don't make me escalate this." "And what does escalation look like?" I asked quietly. That was the wrong question. Ethan's eyes hardened. In one violent motion, he yanked something from his coat, metal glinting under the server lights. Not a gun, not a knife, but a stun baton. Industrial grade, security issue, capable of dropping a grown man in seconds. Milo cursed under his breath. "Oh, this just got fun. Move away from the terminal," Ethan ordered. Neither of us moved. His thumb hovered over the trigger. "I won't warn you again." I looked at Milo. Milo looked at me. And in that split second, we both knew we weren't leaving without that drive. Ethan lunged. The baton arced toward Milo with a high-pitched crackle. Before it could hit him, I shoved Milo sideways. The baton slammed against the metal server casing, sending a surge of sparks across the room. "Run!" Milo yelled. But there was nowhere to run. Ethan blocked the only exit. He stepped between us and the door, shoulders squared, baton humming with electricity. "This is pointless," he said. "You can't win." I wiped sweat from my forehead. "We don't need to win." Ethan frowned. "Then what?" "We just need 10 minutes. He froze for half a second. And in that hesitation, Milo bolted to the far side of the room, weaving through the maze of server racks. Ethan cursed and lunged after him. "Get back here!" I ran after them, heart hammering. Machines hummed around us like a metallic forest. Milo darted left, right, ducking under cables. Ethan close behind with the baton swinging dangerously. "Milo!" I shouted. "The exit!" "I'm working on it!" he yelled back. A flash of metal. Ethan whipped the baton forward. It caught the edge of Milo's backpack, jolting him off balance. He stumbled, hitting the floor. Ethan raised the baton again. "No!" I screamed, grabbing the nearest fire extinguisher from the wall. I sprinted forward and swung with all my strength. The extinguisher connected with Ethan's forearm. He grunted in pain, the baton slipping from his hand and clattering across the floor. Milo scrambled away. Ethan turned toward me, fury twisting his face. "You don't understand what you're doing, Elowen." "Oh, I understand perfectly," I said. "You're protecting a criminal." His eyes narrowed. "You think Caleb is the criminal?" The room felt suddenly colder. "What does that mean?" I breathed. Ethan straightened slowly, retrieving the baton. "You think he engineered all of this alone?" He chuckled darkly. "Elowen, Caleb is a useful idiot, nothing more." My skin prickled. "Then who—" "You don't get to know," Ethan snapped. "You're a liability, and liabilities—" He activated the baton. It crackled to life. "Get removed." He lunged again. I dodged, heart slamming against my ribs. The baton hit a server tower, sending electricity screeching through the metal. The floor vibrated. Dust shook loose from the ceiling. "Stop destroying my data!" Milo shouted from across the room. "Your data?" Ethan barked. "You have no idea what you're involved in." He swung again. I ducked, dropping to the floor. The baton whooshed above my head, humming like an angry wasp. "Milo!" I shouted. "Do something!" "I'm busy," he yelled back. "Also, try not to die." Noted. Ethan approached slowly this time, calculated, ready to strike. "I'll give you one last chance, Elowen," he said, voice cold. "Walk away. Leave Denver. Disappear." I laughed, a short, sharp, bitter sound. "You stole my company, my reputation, and the product I built from nothing. And now you want me to disappear?" "Yes," he said simply. "Too bad." I tightened my grip on the extinguisher. "Because I'm not done." For the first time, something like irritation flashed in his eyes. "This is exhausting," he muttered. He lifted the baton. I braced myself. But before he could strike, a piercing alarm erupted overhead, an emergency alert siren blaring through the building. Red lights flashed. A robotic voice filled the room. "Unauthorized system breach detected. Lockdown initiated." Ethan froze. Milo froze. I froze. "What did you do?" Ethan growled at Milo. Milo raised both hands in innocence. Not that. The doors clanked loudly, metallic, heavy. Ethan spun toward the exit. He tried to yank it open. Locked. Locked from the outside. His face paled. We were trapped inside the server room. All three of us. And then we heard footsteps. Multiple footsteps. Coming down the hallway. Fast. Ethan stepped back from the door, breathing hard. "That's not security," he whispered. "They're early." "Who's early?" I asked. Ethan turned toward me slowly. "The people Caleb works for." My stomach dropped. Whoever they were coming, and they weren't coming to talk. For a moment, none of us moved. The footsteps outside the server room grew louder. Too many to count, heavy and coordinated. Whoever they weren't random intruders. They moved like a team, a trained one. Ethan backed away from the door, gripped tight on the stun baton. He looked genuinely rattled now, shaken in a way I had never seen, and that scared me more than the alarm. "Ethan," I whispered, "who's out there?" He didn't answer immediately. His jaw clenched, his eyes fixed on the door like he was waiting for it to explode. Finally, he said, "They're not supposed to be here this early." "That's not an answer," I said sharply. "Who are they?" Ethan exhaled the way someone does when they know the truth is a loaded gun. "The people financing Caleb, the ones who arrange the shell companies, the ones who want Unoya's algorithm." My skin crawled. "So, what? A private security unit? Mercenaries?" "Not exactly." His voice dropped. "They're from Velis Data Group." My stomach twisted. I'd seen that name once, buried deep inside the Ghost Vault, attached to encrypted memos. A corporation infamous in tech circles for skirting privacy laws, acquiring smaller startups, and siphoning user data like oil. Companies whispered their name with fear. No one ever mentioned working with them publicly. "Caleb made a deal with them?" I choked out. Ethan didn't deny it. Which meant yes. The footsteps stopped outside the door. Silence, cold, deep. Then, bang, bang, bang. A fist slammed against the metal. "Ethan Vale," a voice called. Male, smooth, dangerous. "We know you're inside. Open the door." Ethan didn't move. Milo whispered, "They know his name. This is bad." Another voice spoke, female this time, calm and businesslike. "Mr. Vale, step away from the server terminal. We will enter in 10 seconds. My pulse spiked. "We're trapped," Milo murmured. The metal door clanked, heavy bolts sliding, mechanical locks disengaging from the outside. Ethan cursed under his breath. "They're overriding the lockdown." "How?" I asked. He gave a humorless laugh. "You don't lock out the people who installed the system." My chest tightened. This was beyond Caleb, beyond betrayal. This was orchestration. "Okay," Milo said shakily. "Once they get in, what's the plan?" I swallowed, hard. "There isn't one," Ethan said. "They're not here for a conversation." The final bolt unlatched. A mechanical whir filled the air. And then, the door slid open with a cold hiss. 4 figures walked in, all wearing dark business attire. Not uniforms, not tactical gear, but coordinated enough to scream corporate enforcement. 2 men, 2 women. Minimal expression, maximum authority. The man in front, sharp jaw, silver streaks in his hair, looked directly at Ethan. "Mr. Vale, you were not authorized to interfere with the cleansing protocol." "Cleansing?" My heart dropped. "What cleansing?" I demanded. He looked at me like I was an inconvenient spreadsheet error. "You are Elowen Crest," he said, as if reading from a file. "Your presence was not expected. You were removed from the organization." "I didn't agree to being removed," I snapped. One of the women stepped forward. "Where is the clone drive?" My blood froze. Ethan's eyes flicked toward Milo. Just a fraction of a second, but enough to give us away. The woman's gaze followed. Milo hid the drive behind his back like a child concealing stolen candy. "Clone drive?" Milo squeaked. "Never heard of it." The silver-haired man sighed. "Mr. Hale, we know your habits. You keep backups. Always. It is why Caleb originally recruited you." Milo's face drained of color. "Oh, crap." The woman extended a hand. "Give us the drive, now." Ethan stepped forward, surprisingly defensive. "Wait, Let me handle this. The man cut him off coldly. Mr. Vale, you have already failed your role. We will extract what we need ourselves. I took a step back. They weren't here for negotiation. They were here to erase evidence. Us included. Fight or flight wasn't a metaphor anymore. It was the only choice. But before any of us could move, the man lifted a small device from his pocket. It looked like a sleek pen until he pressed a button. A sharp, piercing tone filled the room. Milo's portable drive beeped in response, like it was being scanned. Milo panicked. "L, they're trying to remotely wipe it." My heart stuttered. If that drive was wiped, our only proof would vanish. "Stop!" I shouted. The woman didn't even blink. "Compliance is mandatory." Milo stumbled back, clutching the drive like it was a lifeline. And maybe it was. Without warning, Ethan lunged, not at us, but at them. He grabbed the man's wrist, trying to wrench the scanning device away. It shocked him. A burst of blue electricity snapped through Ethan's arm, dropping him to one knee. "Ethan!" I yelled. He grimaced, shaking, but forced himself up again. "You can't let them have that drive," he growled. "They'll bury everything, including you." Everything happened at once. One of the agents reached for Milo. The woman activated another scanning pulse. Ethan threw himself at the woman to block it. Milo bolted toward the back of the server racks, clutching the drive, and I grabbed the fire extinguisher again. I ran straight at the man with the scanning device. He moved faster than I expected. He sidestepped, grabbed my arm, twisted. Pain shot up my shoulder. But the extinguisher slipped, flew, and landed squarely against the scanning device. It clattered to the floor and shattered. For the first time, the man's expression changed. He frowned. That was inconvenient. "Inconvenient?" I spat. "Try again." He stepped toward me. I backed away. But behind me, a server rack blocked my escape. He advanced slowly, methodically, like someone used to cornering prey. "You should not have interfered," he said. "You were meant to be eliminated quietly." My breath hitched. Eliminated? Not fired, not pushed out. Eliminated. Milo screamed from somewhere behind us. "Elowen, move!" I ducked just as he hurled something through the air. A thick network cable. It wrapped around the man's leg. He stumbled forward, slamming into the rack. Sparks erupted. The room plunged into flickering chaos. Milo grabbed my wrist. "Run!" We darted between the racks as the agents regrouped. Ethan yelled after us, "Get to the freight exit!" I didn't look back. My only thought was, get out alive. But as we reached the back of the room, Milo froze. "L, the exit is blocked." The metal gate, the one that should have led to the loading corridor, was sealed shut. Behind us, the agents approached in formation, trapping us, cornering us, and the silver-haired man's voice echoed through the dim, sparking room. "You cannot escape, Ms. Crest, not with the drive, not with the truth." His silhouette appeared through the smoke. "Closer, closer. We will take what is ours." And then, behind him, something massive powered on. A machine I hadn't noticed before. A ventilation turbine, industrial, loud. Its metal blades began to spin violently, sucking air, sucking loose papers, sucking anything not bolted down. Milo's eyes widened. "Oh no." I turned. The vacuum pull hit us like a punch, and the portable drive, the one in Milo's hand, slipped. It flew out of his grip, toward the turbine, toward shredding metal, toward oblivion. Time slowed. The portable drive, our lifeline, our only proof, spun through the air in a silver arc, tumbling end over end toward the roaring turbine. The blades whirled like a mechanical vortex, hungry to shred anything that came close. "No, no!" Milo shouted, lunging toward it. The force of the turbine wind yanked him backward. He stumbled, arms flailing, barely keeping his footing. "Milo, don't!" I screamed. "You'll get pulled in." But he didn't listen. He sprinted again, fighting the violent pull of the industrial suction. His hoodie snapped against his body, his curls whipping around his face. The drive was inches from the intake now. I ran after him, grabbing the back of his hoodie. "Milo, stop, you'll—" "It has everything, Elle," he yelled, voice cracking. "If we lose that, we lose everything. The agents closed in behind us, their silhouettes sharp through the haze of smoke and flickering lights. "Retrieve the drive," the silver-haired man commanded. "Alive or dead, either condition is acceptable." My blood iced. They didn't care who got sucked into the turbine. They just wanted the evidence gone. The drive dropped lower, spinning, dipping, about to be swallowed whole. Then, a metal clang. It hit the turbine grate instead of the blades. It bounced, once, twice, and slid underneath the turbine housing. Not destroyed, but far worse. Totally unreachable. Milo collapsed to his knees, gasping. "Oh God. Oh God, El. We can't get under that thing. It weighs a ton. We need tools. Lifting gear." "We don't have time," I whispered, because the agents were moving again. Fast. Predatory. The silver-haired man signaled 2 of them forward. "Secure Crest and Hale. Retrieve the drive manually." Ethan struggled to his feet, gripping the wall for balance, still shaking from the shock earlier. "Leave them alone!" he barked. His defiance bought us exactly 1 second. One of the agents hit him across the ribs with a baton of their own. He collapsed, breath punched out of him. "Ethan!" I cried. The room vibrated violently, the turbine pulling harder now as if working overtime. Milo looked at me, eyes panicked but alive. "El, we need a plan." I scanned the room. Turbine, server racks, fire extinguisher on the floor, electrical conduits snaking across the wall. A thought shot through me like lightning. "Milo, can you overload the turbine?" He blinked. "You mean, blow it out?" "Yes. That could start an electrical fire. Better than getting erased," I said. He hesitated only a heartbeat before scrambling toward the control panel on the wall, but the silver-haired man noticed instantly. "Stop him!" The female agent lunged. I intercepted her, swinging the fire extinguisher like a battering ram. It smashed into her shoulder. She staggered, surprised, but not down. She retaliated with a swift kick to my thigh. Pain shot up my leg, but I stayed up. Barely. Milo reached the panel, yanking open its metal cover. "Wires, switches, fuses." "Tell me what to do," I shouted. He didn't look back. "Buy me 10 seconds. "I can do 10 seconds, I told myself. I have to. The female agent advanced again, faster this time, well-trained, efficient, deadly. I backed up, raising the extinguisher. Behind her, the other agent approached Milo. He couldn't fight both. I charged the second agent before he could reach Milo, slamming into him with my shoulder. Pain exploded across my arm, but I forced myself to stay upright, pushing him back into a server rack. He grabbed my hair and jerked hard. I screamed, but my hand found the fire extinguisher pin, and I yanked it free. A plume of white chemical foam blasted into his face. He stumbled, blinded, coughing violently. "1!" I shouted. "That's 1 second." Behind me, Milo cursed under his breath. Come on. Come on. Where's the overload line?" The female agent lunged at me again. I swung the extinguisher wildly. She ducked. Her fist struck my ribs like a hammer. I collapsed to one knee, wheezing. "Elowen!" Milo yelled. "Just 5 more seconds." I forced myself up, vision blurring. My body screamed in pain. I wasn't strong enough, not fast enough, but I could be loud. I grabbed a handful of shattered server fragments and flung them at her face. She flinched. Not much, but enough. I charged. We collided hard, slamming into the side of a humming server tower. Something inside sparked. I didn't care. 3 seconds, Milo yelled. The remaining agent recovered and sprinted for Milo again. Ethan, bleeding, hunched over, barely conscious, grabbed the man's ankle as he passed. It tripped him. Just long enough. 5. Done. Milo ripped a thick orange fuse from the panel. The turbine screamed as the power surged. Lights flickered. Servers crackled. The entire room shuddered violently. Then, boom! The turbine exploded in a shower of sparks. Its blades screeched to a halt. Smoke billowed out in a thick black cloud. Everyone froze. The agents shielded their eyes. Milo grabbed my hand. "El, now!" We sprinted through the smoke toward the turbine housing, coughing, blinking through the haze. The drive glinted under the metal casing now that the turbine wasn't shredding everything. Still hot, still dangerous, but reachable. Milo dropped to the ground and reached under the housing. His fingertips brushed it. Almost, almost. A shadow moved behind us. The silver-haired man. He lunged. Milo snatched the drive at the same instant. I got it! But the man grabbed the back of Milo's hoodie and yanked him upward with terrifying strength. No! I screamed, grabbing Milo's arm. The man pulled harder, and the drive began slipping from Milo's trembling fingers. Don't let go! I cried. I'm trying, Milo gasped. And then, a new voice cut through the smoke. A voice I knew. A voice I never wanted to hear again. What the hell is going on in here? The agents froze. The silver-haired man froze. Ethan froze. Milo froze. And I turned to see Caleb Rourke standing in the doorway. Suit immaculate, face shadowed, expression unreadable. As if he'd walked into a meeting room instead of a firefight. His cold eyes swept across the wreckage. The shattered turbine, the choking smoke, the agents mid-struggle, Ethan bleeding, me gripping Milo's arm, and he exhaled slowly. Everyone stop, Caleb said. Now. And the room went dead silent. Smoke thickened around us, swirling in heavy black clouds that stung my eyes and clawed at my lungs. The floor beneath our feet trembled again, another generator threatening to rupture. The silver-haired man didn't flinch. He simply stood there, hand extended, palm open, as if we were handing over a lost wallet instead of the only evidence exposing a multi-million-dollar conspiracy. Give us the drive, he repeated, voice steady. This is your final warning. Milo gripped the drive so tightly his knuckles turned white. Elowen, what do we do? I didn't know, and we had no time to decide. Because behind the agents, Caleb was watching me, calm, calculating, waiting, studying the moment I would break. Elowen, he said gently, don't be ridiculous. You're not going to let yourself die over this. My jaw tightened, because that was exactly the kind of thing Caleb believed. That survival meant obedience, that fear was leverage, that people were programmable. But he didn't understand me anymore. Maybe he never did. The floor shuddered again, harder this time. A fissure cracked across the tiles, splitting toward the far wall. One more generator and the whole floor would collapse. The agent stepped forward. The silver-haired man's voice dropped. 3. Milo's breathing turned frantic. L. 2. Ethan tried to stand, but his legs buckled beneath him. Don't give it to them, he gasped. Don't. 1. I made a choice. Not with logic, not with fear, but with instinct. I grabbed Milo's wrist and ran straight toward the collapsing floor. Elle, what are you doing? Milo shrieked. The agents lunged. Caleb shouted, Stop them! But it was too late. The slab of flooring in front of us buckled downward, sinking into the darkness below. I didn't hesitate. I jumped. Milo screamed. The world tilted. Gravity tore us downward. A gust of heat burst beneath us as something else exploded deeper in the building. For half a second I thought, we're dead. But instead of falling into empty space, we crashed onto a lower platform, maybe a utility walkway, maybe an old maintenance ledge, hard enough to knock the breath from my lungs. Milo slammed beside me, coughing violently. Ow, 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 Elowen. What? Why? What is wrong with you? I groaned, rolling onto my back. Improvisation, I wheezed. Above us, shouts, footsteps, the agents peering down into the hole. There! The silver-haired man barked. They survived. Go after them. Milo's eyes widened. They're coming down. Then we move, I said. I forced myself onto shaky legs. Pain radiated through my hip and shoulder, but I could still move. Milo hauled himself up, hand pressed to his ribs. I think I broke something. Add it to the list, I muttered. We stumbled forward along the narrow walkway. Pipes hissed around us. Sparks dripped from broken conduits overhead. Smoke seeped down from the collapsing server room. And the building groaned like a dying animal. Milo glanced over his shoulder. They're climbing down after us. I looked up. He was right. 2 agents were already descending through the gap using structural beams as makeshift ladders. The other 2 scanned for alternate routes. And Caleb? stood at the edge of the broken floor staring down at me. Expression cold, deadly, focused. "You can't run from this, Elowen," he called. "You won't get far." I didn't answer, because if I did, I might scream. We followed the walkway to a metal door labeled Utility Access, authorized personnel only. Milo tugged the handle. Locked. "Of course," he muttered. "Why would anything be easy?" I grabbed his shoulder, pushing him aside. Then I kicked the door with everything I had. It didn't budge. I kicked again. Still nothing. "Move," Milo said weakly. He pulled a screwdriver from his backpack, because of course Milo carried tools everywhere, then jammed it into the latch, twisting and jerking with frantic precision. Behind us, the agents climbed closer. "Milo, hurry!" "I am hurrying!" he snapped. A clang echoed overhead. One of the agents dropped onto the walkway behind us. The metal creaked under his weight. I froze. He straightened slowly, spine rigid, posture perfect. "Give me the drive," he said calmly. Milo whispered, "Elowen." "Keep working," I said. "But—" "Work, now." The agent stepped forward. I scanned my surroundings. A loose pipe, a broken junction box, a hanging cable. Then, my eyes landed on a lever next to the walkway railing. Emergency coolant flush, manual release. I didn't know what it did, but the agents didn't know whether I knew, so I grabbed it. Hard. The agent stopped. "Don't. Then stay where you are," I said. "You don't understand. Try me." I yanked the lever. A metallic clunk echoed. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then, a blast of freezing vapor erupted from the pipes behind the agent, engulfing him in a violent white cloud. He staggered, blinded, slipping on the wet metal surface. The walkway rattled under his weight. He reached for the railing and missed. He fell sideways, grabbing onto the piping to stop himself, but the pipe snapped. He dropped into the darkness below. Milo's jaw dropped. "Oh my God!" "Door," I said. "Hurry!" He fumbled with the last piece of the locking mechanism. Then, click! The door swung open. We stumbled inside and slammed it shut. The utility corridor beyond was dimly lit, lined with conduits and inventory crates. The ground vibrated as another explosion sounded somewhere above us. Milo leaned against the wall, clutching the drive. They're insane. Caleb. Valus. All of them. They're desperate," I said. "Desperate people get sloppy." He shook his head. "No, not those agents. They don't get sloppy. They follow orders until they die." A chill spread through me, because he was right. And if they followed orders until death, they would keep coming, no matter what. "We need to get out of this building," I said. "Now." We started running, but the corridor sloped downward, toward the deeper infrastructure of the building, not toward an exit. The air grew hotter, the smoke thicker. Milo coughed. Where does this even go?" "I don't know," I admitted. "But as long as it takes us away from Caleb." A loud crash echoed behind us. Heavy boots landing on metal. My blood ran cold. "No way," Milo whispered. We turned. Through the small window in the utility door, we saw the remaining 3 Valus agents. And behind them, Caleb, descending into the utility corridor, alive, determined, hunting us. His voice carried down the metal passageway, calm and sharp. "Elowen, Milo, stop running." He flicked dust off his suit jacket. "This ends now." The agents began moving toward us, silent, relentless. Milo squeezed the drive against his chest. "Elowen, we're out of time." I grabbed his hand. "No, not yet." Then I saw it. A ladder, bolted to the wall, leading down into the darkness. A maintenance shaft. Maybe deadly. Maybe our only chance. The agents closed in. Caleb's eyes burned through the smoke. I took one step toward the ladder and whispered, "Jump with me." The ladder stretched downward into absolute darkness, a vertical tunnel humming with heat from the machinery below. It looked bottomless, like stepping into a throat that swallowed light. Behind us, the Valus agents closed in. Caleb's voice cut through the smoke. "Elowen, do not make this worse." I did not look at him. I tightened my grip on Milo's wrist. "Ready?" "No," Milo whispered. "Not even a little." "Too bad. I swung one leg over the edge of the ladder. A metal groan echoed beneath us, another section of the building giving way. The silver-haired Valus man took a step closer. "Last chance," he said. "Hand over the drive." Milo clutched it to his chest, breath shaking. I locked eyes with the silver-haired man. And jumped. Milo shrieked again, much less bravely this time, as I dragged him down the shaft with me. The air rushed up in a hot, choking current. Our hands found the ladder rungs halfway down, metal burning our palms. We slid, half climbing, half falling, down the vertical tunnel. Above us. "After them!" the silver-haired man barked. Steel boots clanged against the ladder. They were following. Hard. Fast. "Elle, they're right behind us!" Milo shouted. "I noticed." The ladder rattled violently. The entire shaft vibrated with the building's internal meltdown. Pumps failing, generators blowing, coolant pipes bursting. The deeper we descended, the hotter it got. My lungs screamed, my arms shook, sweat stung my eyes. Milo looked down. Elle, there's like fire down there." He wasn't exaggerating. Orange light flickered from below, reflecting off the curved metal walls. The generator room. The one Milo overloaded. The one now bursting into flames. "Great!" I didn't think. I reacted. "Milo, at the next junction. We jump sideways." "What junction?" "That one." A horizontal maintenance platform jutted out about 15 feet below us, thin, narrow, barely held by rusted bolts. Milo stared at it in horror. "Elowen, that thing is older than my grandmother." "Jump! I hate this!" We let go of the ladder at the same instant, pushing off the metal wall, falling sideways into the narrow platform. We hit hard. The metal screamed and bent beneath the impact, but miraculously held. Barely. Milo groaned. "I think my organs just rearranged alphabetically." "No time," I gasped. "We have to move." Above us, the agents descended fast, almost mechanical in their precision. One reached the junction. He dropped to the platform with a heavy metallic thud, landing perfectly balanced. His eyes locked on us. "Give me the drive," Milo whispered. "Why do they all say it like robots?" "Run!" We bolted along the narrow walkway, the heat intensifying as we neared the generator room. Behind us, the agent sprinted. He moved silently, efficiently, like he wasn't human at all. The walkway swayed under our weight. Screws rattled loose. Panels warped from the heat. Ahead, an orange glow pulsed. The room filled with roaring flames and exploding circuits. Milo shouted, "Elle, the generator's gonna blow again." "Then we don't stay to watch." The walkway ended in a sealed maintenance hatch. Of course it was sealed. Milo slammed into it, locked. "Why is every door in this building locked?" "Open it," I yelled. "I'm trying." The agent was almost on us. His footsteps were so steady, so calm, that they sounded more terrifying than running. I searched the walls desperately for anything: lever, valve, breaker. A red wheel valve hung overhead. "Stand back." I grabbed it with both hands and twisted. It didn't move. I twisted harder. It groaned. A pipe behind us hissed, then exploded, releasing a jet of scalding steam right across the walkway. The agent was thrown backward, slamming into the railing. He held on, but barely. Milo stared. "Elle, holy crap, you almost cooked him." "It wasn't the plan." "What was the plan?" "I'm making it up as I go." The metal walkway beneath us shook again. The temperature spiked. Somewhere below, alarms wailed. "Critical meltdown imminent." Milo's fingers worked frantically over the hatch mechanism. "Come on, baby. Come on. Don't do this to me." He stopped. His face fell. "Oh no." "What?" "It's not locked." I blinked. "What?" "It's melted shut." Oh, that was worse." Behind us, the agent recovered, pushing himself upright, one eye squeezed shut from the steam burn. His voice was still steady. "Hand over the drive." "Today is not the day!" Milo shouted at him. I scanned the room again. There was no exit, no door, no ladder, no escape. Except a ventilation duct overhead, small, cramped, but possible. I pointed. "Milo, up." He looked at me like I'd asked him to eat the generator. "I'm not a raccoon?" Climb! I cupped my hands to give him a boost. The agent lunged. I kicked him in the chest. He staggered back, but didn't fall. Milo scrambled, grabbing the vent edge. The metal cut his palms. He hissed in pain. You go next, he shouted. No, you go. I'll hold him off. Elowen, if you stay... Move! He pulled himself up, swinging his leg into the vent. The agent recovered and charged again. I grabbed a loose pipe from the walkway and swung with everything I had. It cracked across his jaw. He barely flinched. He grabbed the pipe midair and ripped it out of my hands. I stumbled. He raised the pipe like a spear. Elowen! Milo screamed from inside the vent. Get up here! I grabbed the railing and hauled myself up. But the walkway tilted. A generator erupted below in a geyser of flame. The walkway buckled, and the section under the agent collapsed. He dropped, falling into the inferno below. Milo exhaled shakily. Oh God! Elowen, hurry! The walkway behind me continued to crumble. The flames below roared upward, and above, through the vent grate, I could see Milo reaching down. El, give me your hand! I leapt, fingers brushing his, but not catching. The walkway cracked beneath me. Smoke flooded my lungs. Heat burned my legs. I jumped again. Milo caught my wrist, barely, grunting as he tried to pull me up. Elowen, don't let go. The metal support holding my feet gave way. I dangled in midair, suspended only by Milo's grip. Below me, a sea of fire. Behind me, the rest of the walkway tore loose with a deafening screech. And from above, a new voice echoed down the shaft. Cold, sharp, final. Elowen, Caleb. He was above the vent, staring down at me, face twisted with fury I had never seen. You should have stayed erased. Something metallic clicked. A weapon. He was pointing it at me. Milo screamed. Caleb, stop! Caleb didn't hesitate. He pulled the trigger. Caleb fired. The sound cracked through the maintenance shaft like a lightning bolt. Milo screamed my name, his voice echoing off the metal walls. For a split second, I didn't know if I'd been hit. Then, a sharp burst of pain ripped across my shoulder as the bullet grazed me, tearing fabric, burning skin. I cried out and nearly slipped from Milo's grip. Elowen, hold on! He yelled, both hands gripping my wrist now, knuckles white, arms trembling. Below me, the inferno roared, spitting flame toward the collapsing walkway. Above me, Caleb leaned over the vent, fury twisting his face into something almost inhuman. Don't fight this, he shouted. You were never meant to win. But Milo fought harder. He grunted, bracing his entire body against the metal vent frame as he hauled me upward inch by inch. El, don't let go, he panted, please. I tried to pull myself up, kicking against the hot metal wall, teeth gritted through the agony burning up my side. Another explosion shook the building, sending a blast of heat up the shaft. The ladder above snapped loose, metal clanging downward. Caleb stumbled backward to avoid the falling debris. That split second was enough. Milo heaved, and I lunged upward. Our hands locked fully, and he dragged me into the vent. We collapsed in a tangled heap of limbs and sweat and smoke. El, are you hit? Did he? It's just a graze, I gasped. Just keep moving. Milo nodded quickly, panic flashing in his eyes. Behind us, Caleb recovered and stormed toward the vent opening. You can't escape me, he roared. His voice followed us like a curse as we crawled through the narrow metal duct, every breath thick with smoke and heat. The metal burned our palms. The duct rattled with each explosion. But we kept going, because we had something Caleb didn't, something he could never take back again. The truth, the evidence. The drive clutched in Milo's shaking fist. The duct branched into two directions. Left, upward, toward the upper floors. Right, deeper into the infrastructure. Milo glanced at me, wide-eyed. Which way? I listened. Above us, shouting, metal boots, agents searching. Below us, heat, pipes cracking, the building groaning like a wounded animal. We had one chance. Up, I said. We crawled left. The duct narrowed, squeezing our shoulders. A bolt scraped across my wound, white-hot pain exploding again. I bit my lips so hard I tasted blood. Milo kept glancing back at me. Elle, you're losing blood. I know, I said. Keep going. We reached a sealed panel. Milo kicked it. Nothing. He kicked again. The metal dented. Third kick. The panel snapped free and crashed into a hallway. We tumbled out of the duct, hitting the floor hard. This level was filled with thick smoke, but no flames yet. Emergency lights flickered red across the corridor. Milo coughed violently. We need to get out. Now! We staggered forward, supporting each other. Behind us. Bang. The vent panel burst open. Caleb dropped through, coughing out dust, suit jacket torn, hair plastered to his forehead. He looked unhinged. Truly unhinged. Elowen! His voice cracked with rage. Stop running! Milo grabbed my hand and pulled. We sprinted down the hallway. The floor shook beneath us. Caleb followed, stumbling but relentless. You think the world will believe you? He shouted. You think they'll take your word over mine? I didn't look back, because I knew something now. This wasn't about business anymore. This wasn't about eunoia or data or algorithms. This was about power. Caleb couldn't stand that I slipped out of the role he assigned me. Disposable, replaceable, erasable. But I wasn't any of those things. Not anymore. We reached a set of emergency stair doors. Milo slammed the bar. Locked. Of course. He kicked it. Nothing. He rammed it with his shoulder. Still nothing. Footsteps thundered behind us. Caleb sprinting. Elle, this is bad. This is really. I ran to the glowing emergency box on the wall and grabbed the fire axe inside. Move! I raised the axe and swung. The blade smashed through the emergency lock. A second swing sent metal flying. The door popped open. Milo grabbed my wrist. Elle, your shoulder. Go! We burst into the stairwell. Smoke rose from below. Heat blasted upward. But above, a faint draft. Air. Outside. Freedom. Up! I shouted. We climbed. 2 steps at a time, stumbling, gasping. The building groaned again. Below us, Caleb barreled into the stairwell and looked up at us. His face twisted with hatred. You think you can outrun me? I didn't answer. I didn't need to. He started climbing, faster than I thought possible. Driven by pure fury, Milo looked back. He's catching up. We reached the roof access door. Locked. Milo almost sobbed. Oh, come on. I raised the axe again. Elowen, your arm. No. Move. I swung. Pain ripped through my shoulder, but the lock shattered. We shoved the door open and stumbled onto the roof. Cold night air hit us like a blessing, but there was no time to breathe. The building beneath us shook violently. Sirens wailed across downtown Denver. Helicopter lights shined somewhere far away, and the roof access door flew open. Caleb stepped out, breathing hard, eyes bulging with rage, gun trembling in his hand. End of the line, he said. Milo stepped in front of me. No, stay away from her. Caleb laughed, a broken, wild sound. You? Protect her? You can barely stand. He pointed the gun at Milo. My heart stopped. No! I shouted. I stepped in front of Milo, arms spread. Caleb's hands shook with fury. You ruined everything, he screamed. I built Eunoia. I carried this company. You stole, I said quietly. You lied. You hurt people. You almost killed us. And you... His voice broke into a snarl. You were supposed to disappear. I held his gaze. For the first time, I saw him clearly. Not a visionary, not a genius, not a leader. Just a man terrified of losing control. Caleb, I said, it ends now. His finger tightened on the trigger. Before he could fire, a loud crack split the air as the roof beneath him shifted. The building groaned. A huge fissure split across the rooftop, right under Caleb's feet. The concrete crumbled. He stumbled backward, gun flying from his hand, and the rooftop edge gave way. He grabbed at the ledge, fingers slipping. Elowen, help me! The world slowed. I stood inches from him, his eyes wild, terrified, desperate. Part of me wanted to let go. Part of me wanted him to feel what he made me feel. Helpless, erased, disposable. But I am not Caleb. I am not him. I dropped to my knees and grabbed his wrist. Don't let go, I grunted. His grip tightened, then loosened. His fingers slipped through mine. Elowen! And Caleb fell. Down into the collapsing building. Into the flames. Into the consequences he built himself. Silence. Milo stared, trembling. Oh my God. I didn't speak. I didn't move. I just breathed. For the first time in a long time, I felt free. The aftermath came fast. Fire crews, police, investigators, hospitals. Milo and I handed over the drive. Every file, every transaction, every hidden shell company. The story exploded across Denver, then across the country. Velis collapsed. Investors sued. Employees came forward. And Eunoia, my stolen creation, became Exhibit A in a national case about tech corruption. Months later, I launched Aurea, my own wellness and transparency-focused platform. Milo became my CTO, my brother in survival, my family. And me? I stopped feeling disposable. Because the truth didn't just free me, it rebuilt me. Elowen Crest wasn't erased. She was just getting started.